The fight against HIV and AIDS is being taken to a whole new level as the regulatory authority reigning over tertiary education institutions launches a program geared at empowering tertiary education students to overcome the menace that is HIV and AIDS.
As long as HIV and AIDS continues to be a global epidemic, the fight against it will not stop. This afternoon, the Tertiary Education Council will be launching an HIV and AIDS program that will be working with students to embark on a fight against HIV/AIDS in Botswana.
Upon conducting a survey that showed that the risk of HIV and AIDS infection is on the rise at tertiary educational institutions locally, the Tertiary Education Council, T.E.C, with the assistance of NACA, stood up to craft a more determined effort to prevent tertiary education students from being infected.
We are delighted and we feel very much honored that the launch of this national program is taking place right here at Ba Isago. Truly speaking, this will go down in the annals of history as a very, very important aspect in the interventions which the tertiary education long determined that it was appropriate that such kind of interventions should take place in the tertiary education establishment. I would like to welcome you once again, of course without forgetting our friends from the media.
The teAIDS, as the program is called, was conceived on the basis of identified gaps of the 2008 HIV and AIDS baseline audit survey. Its underlying principle is that tailor-made interventions that address various needs of the students may pay more dividends than the rigid pedagogic methods that normally characterize most intervention programs.
Our experience and starting point for this program is that you cannot produce them and at the same time lose them through death. And therefore anything that threatens the sustenance and retention of the skilled human resources must also become part of our challenge in the subsector. We decided that we needed to also intervene over and above the national program of government on HIV, AIDS, and general wellness of the nation.
The survey points out that today's tertiary education students are doing little to protect themselves from contracting the virus, though they are equipped with knowledge and resources.
Out of the needs and gaps, 48.4% of the students, they said there is counseling services available at their institutions. But if you look at this number, how about 52%? And surprisingly, 56.6% of those are the respondents who are from the University of Botswana. 25.4% of the students said condoms are always available at their institution. Does it mean that if 25.4% say condoms are available, do they have enough finances to go and buy those that are in the market? You wonder. So this is another challenge. 73.0% of students are currently in relationship. They are beginning to explore and test if really there are women and men that are in relationships. So 82.5% have engaged in sexual intercourse, and 45% said they had already engaged in sex without a condom. What is this? 45 to me is almost half. And we are talking about almost 45,000 students that are in tertiary education institutions.
NACA assisted with the money to roll out the program within 10 identified cluster regions.
For us, if TEA is already collaborating well, utilizing existing structures and making sure that the project continues even when BNAM's funds are no more, is a good thing, and we want to applaud that. This project will be upscaled, and all the 50 students will be reached, all the 39 institutions will have this facility, and then our students will indeed obtain the support that is required.
It's a long-term project, and that is why I want to thank TEC for drastically and effectively involving various stakeholders, even to an extent of going home. I take that the tertiary institutions to me at that level, they are homes to our children.
A student perspective was also given.
It's amazing to still see that we can still engage in unprotected sex as the youth, even though we've grown up knowing about AIDS. And I think the ignorance that we have should be erased from our minds, and we should start waking up and realizing that these are our lives. It's not anybody else's life. We can't say, I don't care, when we actually know that it is very high in Botswana and we're doing all these things.
We need a robust and holistic approach which will incorporate health and wellness perspective at all levels of one's life, particularly that our overall health is tied to productivity. And you know the 4 Ds. Otherwise, then it's going to be the 5th one. And the 5th one now with HIV is what? Death. I guess you will all agree with me that healthier graduates are more marketable products. More importantly, they are not burdensome to the society. Hence, the society's resources can be channeled to other developmental areas.
Institutions in a cluster will have a center of this type where students will be offered assistance by professionals. The center will have an office and a counseling room.
For this, I take off my hat to TEC for having played a facilitative role in ensuring accessibility of services to tertiary students on site, and more importantly, coordinated by professionals. The onus, therefore, lies with beneficiaries, students themselves, to fully take advantage of the services.
In 2009, there was a behavioral and perception survey that was taken. Can you please just put us through the statistics?
With regards to the statistics, what was indicated was that although our number of students do have information with regards to HIV and AIDS, that does not necessarily translate into appropriate behaviors. Students within our tertiary institutions still continue to engage in risky sexual behaviors. Like we had close to 50% of the students reporting that they had engaged in unprotected sex. And when you probed them, a majority would say they didn't know that statuses, they didn't know that partner statuses.
What are your thoughts about this?
I'm really glad that they came up with this project, and really it's going to help us a lot. And looking at the fact that today's generation just into more fun and all that, so I think it's going to boost us and it's going to help us a lot.
More especially as men, we're scared to go and do SMC because they're saying that they're scared of the injections and stuff, but it's just nothing, and it's a good thing to do.
What forms of communication will you use together with the program?
The communication channel that we use edutainment. That is, we engage young people to do drama, poetry, and other things that can really attract young people so that they can be able to be attracted. Because with young people, you need to be innovative. You need to take things that can really draw them from the street. So we are using such communication. And we are also using the peer educator approach. Young people themselves, we train them, give them the technical support, and then they are the one that send out the message.
Prime time.